Hey everyone, this is Ben Falcon's Media Corner back again with yet another new video, and welcome to yet another movie review, aka After a Soul. And this one, I'm very happy. I'm just so excited to talk to this one for you guys, and you guys may know if you already know what I'm talking about. If you don't, here it goes. I'm going to be talking about the 2021 horror sequel to the 2018 horror film that I previously reviewed on my channel, and this is of course A Quiet Place Part 2. Yes, I finally got to review this film, and of course I have to talk because even though what I faced through, I do have to face a bit of hospital bills of what happened to me twice, like twice of like what happened to me. Uh, I do need to pay some bills for that, but I'm all fixed and I'm well enough. But now let's talk about this movie. So, A Quiet Place Part 2, this was written and directed by John Krasinski, who directed the previous movie, and this time around, this is him fully writing on his own and directing this movie on his own. So there's no other screenwriters who were involved with writing this movie. It's just full-on John Krasinski writing and directing the whole film. So in this sequel, we follow, after the events of the first film, we see the Abbott family. We see Evelyn, once again played by Emily Blunt, and her two children, Regan, once again played by Millicent Simmonds, and Marcus, once again played by Noah Jupe. And after what they faced from the first film, we see them, they have to leave their world, they have to enter a new world where, of course, they have to stay alive and survive, of course, on these monsters. And what they soon realize is they find out there's more than one threat that are lurking underneath the sand path. And meanwhile, we see them. They bump into a person they knew from the past before all of this happened, which is this guy named Emmett, played by Cillian Murphy, who knew his family back then, but it's been like ages since they knew him. And so we see him joining with his family, trying to find a new world so they can basically stay alive and hopefully survive this whole situation they're still facing. So that's pretty much the story of A Quiet Place Part 2. So for me, going into the sequel, I was of course very hyped for this movie. I was so hyped for instance last year. And when I heard, and as you guys may know, like I said, I absolutely love the first A Quiet Place. It's one of my favorite horror films of the 2010s decade, and even my favorite horror film of 2018, right next to Hereditary, which that's another one of my favorites. And I was about to rewatch the first film before seeing this last year, because the last film I unfortunately saw in the cinemas was The Hunt. But then, when the pandemic began, cinemas unfortunately had to be closed, and I was upset about that, and because I was so dying to see this, and I was upset about it, and unfortunately, this movie had to get rescheduled. It had to be pushed back over and over again. It was originally supposed to come out March 1st, at first. Then it was pushed to September of last year. Then this year it got pushed to April, then September, and then they decided to release this in May 28th in the US, but then it came out in the 4th of June in the UK. So, and I did rewatch the first film before seeing this, and I even saw this in IMAX, which is even a more great experience to see this on the big screen. And you may have a question for me: was this movie worth the wait after all the delays? You betcha. It is a big fat yes. Yes. This was absolutely worth the wait, and I absolutely love this movie, and this is easily got to be my favorite horror film of the 2010s decade the 2020s decade by far. I absolutely love this one, and thankfully this movie did not disappoint me, because I absolutely love this movie from beginning to end. It was riveting, more suspenseful, and has more action, which I thought everyone in this film did a superb job with the sequel. John Krasinski's directing and writing talent for this film, he just did it spot on once again. And having new stuff to be introduced to this sort of universe of this movie, I thought he just did it spot on. And there was no there wasn't to me kind of unanswered questions a bit for me. There wasn't that much unanswered questions for me, but there wasn't like anything like that in this one. Like when they're trying to explain like what's more dangerous than these monsters in the world, because this one, like I said, has more threats than these monsters, which I was very surprised like what the threats were, and I won't spoil for what they are, because again, I highly suggest you go and see this in cinemas if you still if you're still dying to see this. But yeah, I thought John Krasinski's writing talent and directing talent for this film, he just did it spot on. And like I said, his writing was great, and the direction for this movie is more, like I said, more suspenseful and more riveting, and yet has more action, which it was just very surprising for me, and it just kept me it just had me smiling, and even it just edging me seat throughout the entire film. And of course, the performances. Emily Blunt, again, she absolutely smashes it. She just smashed it and smashed it and smashed it again in this one, and she was just she's just fantastic in this movie. She does a lot more in this film, which I just absolutely loved it. And like I said, when she does like more stuff in this film, I just loved her even more in this one, and I think she does it a lot better. I think she was a lot better in the first. It's not like she's awful in the first. No, she's bloody fantastic in the first film. But here, I loved her even more, and she was just she just absolutely just, like I said, she just smashed it again. And I loved her from beginning to end from what she did. And you've got the kids in the film, like Millicent Simmonds as Regan and Noah Jupe as Marcus. Both of them are great again. And for the character of Regan, there's a subplot with her which involves her like trying to find a new area that she learned, and she wants to find it to keep her family safe. I found that very, very good, and it just had me. It kind of like almost had me. It just almost had me like going like had me like touching my heart. When I saw it, I was like, oh. And I love to see Millicent Simmonds do more things like that in future projects outside of this series of films. And Noah Jupe, which I thought he was very good too in the film as Marcus. I did feel for him as well, because you know it is very tough for him and more scary than ever for him because of what he's really facing with his family. It's just really tough for him, and I thought Noah Jupe just absolutely nailed it again. And for the new cast of characters, like you got Cillian Murphy as Emmett, which you may know him from the trailers and as well as the TV spots of this film. And this was originally when it was originally going to be released, towards like the new release date of this was facing of this year. I thought he was he was also fantastic in this movie, and he does a lot as well along with Emily Blunt in this movie, which I thought he was absolutely perfect for the casting. And you know, Cillian Murphy, he's such a great actor. I loved him in 20 Days Later from Danny Boyle from 2002, as well as some of Christopher Nolan's projects like Batman Begins and Inception, which he's perfect in those movies. But here in this movie, he was just fantastic. And you got other actors like Djimon, Hounsou, which I thought he was absolutely very good. He was also very good in the movie. Everyone in this movie, they're all fantastic. And the story, I found him more riveting than ever than the first. And then, like I said, it has some new stuff in this one, like new threats in this world. Like, because again, we see this family leaving their own world and they enter a new world that has more dangerous threats than ever. I found that more riveting than ever. And this one is surprisingly a bit longer than the first, because the first one was only an hour and 30 minutes, but this one's an hour and 37 minutes, so this is only like 7 minutes extra. Well, including with credits though. There wasn't much issues with that for me. There wasn't much issues for me at all. Although there was some bit, I thought it was almost a little bit slow, but still though, it kept me interested, and I still had an absolute blast with the sequel. And that's pretty much all I have to say about the sequel. Like I said, A Quiet Place Part 2, this was such an awesome sequel. It thankfully did not disappoint me, and I'm very happy that we finally got it. And yes, it's one of the biggest worth of the wait of the year by far, for a movie that was supposed to be released, but then it got pushed back. to this year, and then seeing it and worthing all the way to finally see it. It's definitely worth one of the best ones of the year by far. And if you're a fan of the first and you're dying to see this, go and bloody see it. Or if you're a fan of like these new actors like who were involved with it, like Cillian Murphy, again, just go and see it. So for my rating out of 5, I'm gonna give A Quiet Place Part 2 a 4.5 out of 5. The exact same rating like I did for the first film. Again, it's an absolute must see, and like I said, it is just worth the wait. And honestly, it's just by far the best big screen experience I've ever seen of this year, and it's one of my favorites of this year by far, and my favorite IMAX experience I've ever seen in my life. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching my review of A Quiet Place Part 2, and let me know what you think of the sequel if you've seen this already. Did you absolutely had an absolute blast with it, or were you just disappointed? So yeah, again, thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for more reviews, which I'm not sure I'm going to be reviewing because again I have a lot to do, but I can't wait to do some more like new videos, as well as do some redos with I'm gonna probably do some redos to make them more better, because I've the new stuff I've got on my channel, new intros and new rating system and all that, and new ideas. I can't wait to show them like how I'll do them in very soon. So anyway, as always, this has been Foggins Media Corner signing off.